Hey, Phil from the future here. Round 5 is my recommended round for this video if you want to see this deck really do some neat things. Enjoy the show. Do you, believe in love at first sight? I'm not a hopeless romantic or anything, but sometimes I look at a deck list and just go, yeah, that's the one. I need to play that. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of Thrave and you here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com. We'll take a look at them after round 1. And boy, this one, like, quadruple pepper spicy. We're playing with a 5-0 deck list from the Hollywood MK, which contains Black Vice. So, you choose an opponent when you cast it, and at the beginning of the chosen player's upkeep, Black Vice deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of cards in their hand minus 4. So if they have a 7-card hand, they get lightning bolted by Black Vice. And we're going to play Ankh of Mishra. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, Ankh of Mishra deals 2 damage to that land's controller. Note, that is symmetrical. So, our goal is essentially to be a colorless burn Stompy deck list, as weird as that sounds. And by the way, there's 4 wastelands. They just all don't cleanly fit on the screen here. So we are going to utilize all of the big mana. We've got Cloudposts and Glimmer Posts for that synergy to make our Cloudposts tap for more. We've got the Ancient Tombs and City of Traders, as well as Urza's Saga. So there's a lot of really cute deck building here. We can accelerate out a ton of this stuff out on turn 1. The Ankh of Mishra's hurt us, but we have Glimmer Posts to compensate for that. And the Cloud Posts and Glimmer Posts, along with these other things, help us accelerate out these other cards early. Meaning that this is a pretty nasty deck list in terms of the raw power that it can have to produce game-ending cards, or at the very least, highly annoying cards. Now, a couple of notes here. Yeah, that is a playset of Null Rod in the main deck. There's no other way to say this, but, like, fuck them. Absolutely fuck them. Like, this deck is coming out swinging, and it knows what it wants to target, right? This deck has said, in game 1, I am not losing to artifact decks. And for the post-sideboard games, we can bring in 3 Torpor Orbs so that you don't lose to, like, the creature trigger decks like Death and Taxes, and so that you improve your game versus Doomsday. Like, this list is sweet. Using your big mana, you can, like, Karn the Great Creator into casting Mycosynth Lattice, maybe even on the same turn in some cases. Although, we're not an Ensnaring Bridge Karn deck here, because we are planning on just killing via, construct tokens from either this Karn or Urza Saga or Lodestone Golem Beats. Like, we're a weird looking burn deck, folks. Like, we have a lot of colorless burn in our deck and large creatures that we want to hit our opponent with. We want to dominate combat. But since we are playing with a playset of Null Rods, that does often mean that some of the things in our sideboard that could be good might become a little bit less good. It's only liquid metal coating here, but this is going to keep us from playing things like, say, Shadow Spear as an Urza Saga target, right? And that makes us not necessarily want to play something like Tormod's Crypt that otherwise might be a go-to for this deck list. I'm probably the most excited about this deck list that I've been about a deck list in probably weeks here, because like I saw this in the 5-0 deck list dump and said, like, okay, I'm recording with that. And I already recorded a league today, and it's a school night, but like we're doubling down. We're going in. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this one, because like this one is absolutely wild to me. Like, main deck Null Rod in Legacy. Just awesome, and I love it. Anyway, if you're new here, please consider subscribing if you like what you see today, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Alright, round 1 opening hand. I can play Cloudpost on turn 1, Glimmer Post on turn 2, and then start deploying cards. I wish I had one more land with this hand, but I think this one's still a keep. We will be soft to Wasteland. Alright, Cloudpost go. Please don't Wasteland me. That's not a wasteland. Probably a Dryad Arbor. We might be playing against elves. Okay. So I have to make a choice here of like Trinosphere versus Chalice of the Void, and I don't quite have enough information right now to do that. I think I'm going to start on Chalice. If this is not elves and this is like some sort of Green Sun Dark Depths deck, I would like to shut off all the crop rotation type stuff right now before I get wastelanded. I'm sad. That was always a possibility. Don't have Arn. Ensnaring Bridge is an option. My Karn's not really good versus this deck. Oh, fuck, and the Cradle, too. Alright, fuck me, wrong call. Actually, maybe right call, and it just didn't work out. Like, I knew Allosaurus Shepherd, like, was something that could make Chalice worse. But I don't think I regret my play. I don't think I like how this matchup feels. Just conceptually speaking. Next turn, my opponent just taps Cradle and I die. Like, 5 mana, 6 mana, activate, 20. Okay, that's the end of my opponent's string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I can try to stay alive. I just don't think I win from this position since my opponent beat the Chalice. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw in the towel here as to not throw out more information about what I'm doing. So all these Null Rods need to come out. I'm going to bring in the Torpor Orbs. I'm going to bring in the Warping Whales as removal spells. I think I want to be able to Urza Saga for this instead of Wish for it. I also might want to be able to Urza Saga for Pithing Needle instead of Wish for it, and I can leave the Sorcerer's Spyglass in the board. Would be 3 more cuts. Opponent doesn't need to play very many lands. I guess the fetch lands trigger Ankh of Mishra twice. That's kind of cute. Do I get rid of Karn the Great Creator? Like, this card's not great here. It goes for Mycosynth Lattice Lockout. I can just play my Sorceress Spyglass and then, like, not have to deal with this 4-mana slow tutor. I think I like that. So again, I don't think this is a good conceptual matchup for me. Keep. Awkward hand. Because Black Vice does the most damage if I play it out on turn 1, and if I lead on Chalice on 1, it's just a touch awkward. If I don't lead on Chalice on 1, it maybe does something never? I think I am supposed to ignore my Black Vice and play this, even though, like, it's a little awkward in terms of sequencing here. I think that's one of those situations where I just kind of accept it. Don't you dare. No. My own Chalice has been turned against me. If I play Cloudpost this turn, I can play Lodestone Golem next turn. Off Cloudpost mana. But I think I am supposed to just play a Trinosphere now. I think I've got to keep these punches rolling when it comes to, like, the mana denial. Okay, there's another land. And I'll happily take one. Alright, opponent is potentially holding up both Seiju here. Or alternatively, they just don't have another land. I think I am supposed to wasteland them. And find out. Oh shit, they just don't have another one. So that's it for me for a little while. I can't play Black Vice because of my own Chalice. And it's not worth it for me to play another Chalice while this thing exists. Cradle. Rude. Alright, Visionary is very good here. I'm just gonna eat some damage. This matchup doesn't feel great. Tapped Cloudpost, I can start doing cool things next turn, but there's a lot of the time where I just, like, eat a natural order this turn. And I'm dead. Maybe not literally dead, but I think effectively dead. This was just a time where, like, I asked a question. Do you have Allosaurus Shepherd? And both times my opponent just was able to answer, yes, I do. Okay, there's the natural order. Getting the hoof. Yeah, 8, 16 damage. I am just dead on turn 4 through multiple pieces of disruption. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Moxfield is a deck building website for Magic the Gathering with a ton of functionality. And today I want to show you the tags. So a lot of times when you look at a deck list for, say, a commander deck list, you have some very large categories, but you might have some personal ways that you go and view these categories, like combo pieces, fast mana, humans, interaction, and you can actually sort these deck lists in a lot of way. So consider checking out Moxfield if this appeals to you. Okay, round 2 opening hand is really weird looking. I'm a mana away from playing my 4 mana cards, and I can't effectively play a 2-drop card on turn 1. I think I'm just gonna mulligan this hand. I think this one's just too awkward if I have to play City of Traders on turn 2. This hand is probably a keep. It's a little weird, and I don't know how to play it. I think I play this as an Urza Saga hand with upside later and get rid of City. It's also possible that I'm supposed to just get rid of Urza Saga and play like Ankh of Mishra into Thought-Knot Seer Karn, and that's just better. Wow, this deck is pretty tough to play. Yeah, I actually think I want to get rid of my Urza Saga, which is not something that I say very often. Like, I might be wrong. That feels like the plan to me. Black Vise. Okay. Glimmer Post. Gain a life. Play Black Vise. It has resolved. It's not particularly a strong card here, right? So, like, this deals 1 to my opponent this turn. And it may or may not deal extra damage beyond that after this point. Man, it's super scary to, like, play out an Ankh of Mishra on this board. Alright, 2 cards into the graveyard off of the Dragon Rage Channeler triggers. And a Shuffle with Ponder. I'll take some damage. Black Vice isn't successfully doing damage anymore. I'll play Glimmer Post. And I am going to try to believe in the deck and play Ankh of Mishra here. Alright, it got dazed. Pyroblast and Volcanic Island into graveyard. And now Black Vice is dealing no damage to my opponent, unfortunately. And these Dragon Rage Channelers are absolutely fucking horrifying right now. I think I'm already dead. Like, all it takes is 1 more card type in there. Oh, Murktide Region is happening. Yeah, that's a 7/7 on turn 3. That's a totally reasonable card by the standards of this format, right? Yeah, so I don't think either of these cards at this point matter. I'm taking 9 in the air, and I could just die next turn. I don't think I want to show my opponent any cards. That is a concession. I need Leyland of the Void for this matchup for sure. Most of the rest of this stuff isn't great, although I could consider playing Warping Whale. It's a counterspell for Expressive Iteration, and it can sometimes kill smaller creatures. I do not want the main deck Null Rods. And Ankh of Mishra feels scary to me, since it is symmetrical. I'm going to get rid of 2 of those for 2 Warping Whales. These Karn the Great Creators don't feel great. I kind of want to board out all of these and then board in like this and this, but that leaves the Karn package as being very light. I think it's what I'm doing, but this essentially means that Karn is a slow land destruction spell instead of something more potent. I think Leyline's really important in this matchup. I want a Leyline hand. I'm not sure that this hand is good. I need more mana. How many lands? 24? 26? 24. 2 draws to hit, and then my hand's okay. I'm not excited about this one. I'm going to keep it. Keeping a double Leyline hand means that my opponent can't just Brazen Borrower bounce it out of play. But I think there's a good chance I just get Wastelanded out of this game. Alright, double Leyline into play. Tapped Cloudpost, go. Okay. Not Wasteland. Very nice. Unfortunately, I have 4 4-drops in hand. So this isn't quite doing it for me. Alright. We're chilling. When I play a spell, it is absolutely not resolving. So, I am going to play a spell that I have multiple copies of here. And I'm just going to offer this one up to the days. Brainstorm away. Oh, we just fucking resolved? That's wild. Do I just want a plus? I don't know that I want to minus and put my Planeswalker immediately into Lightning Bolt range. I think I'm just going to plus here. I just totally didn't expect this to resolve. Alice or Ancient Tomb. I'm very happy with both of those cards for different reasons. And if my Karn just gets double Lightning Bolted, I can just play another one next turn. Okay. There's a fetch. That's fine. That's fine, but very good. I can't help but feeling like you're supposed to cast that Ponder before the Delver. Alright, no shuffle there, so Delver is presumably flipping. A decent amount of damage that I'm taking this turn. I'm not 100% sure on my sequencing for this turn. I kind of think I'm supposed to play a Chalice of the Void, and then Warping Whale Delver. Let's start here. Grab Chalice. I'm always going to pay at least some life this turn. I'm going to get that out of the way now. Cast Chalice on 1. It has resolved. I don't think I want to wasteland my opponent. I think my own mana is more valuable here. Take out that Delver. Or at least attempt to. Okay. I have succeeded. Call it a turn there. And hopefully this has messed up my opponent's plans. In a vacuum, I believe Dragon Rage Channeler is much, 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 much better than Delver. I just don't want to flip that into a more powerful creature here. Okay. Yeah, your Wasteland is fine. Oh, opting to take out an Ancient Tomb. Sure, I lose a loyalty counter from Karn. Let's Glimmer Post, gain some life. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total mana. I kind of want to resolve this and then minus Karn. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Let's try that. Okay, that has worked. Let's minus this. And we're chilling. And then next turn I can minus Karn, play new Karn, minus Karn, attack in for an absurd amount of damage. I've made Meltdown more of a pain in the ass to cast, which is probably good. I'm a little confused about what's in my opponent's hand, because my spells have been resolving. So, like, there might be a couple Murktides over there, or some expressive iterations that they just haven't had time to cast. Delicious. Delicious. That's probably a game-losing mistake right there. Yeah. I don't love Karn the Great Creator, but I don't think I'm supposed to play Ankh of Mishra, so I guess this is what we're doing. This is a weird hand. It's a very good Urza Saga hand. I just start, like, Urza Saga Black Vice into Ancient Tomb, activate, Lodestone Golem. And I can potentially pivot that plan a little bit. This isn't the best looking hand in the world. I think it's good enough. Alright, you can look at that. They activated that targeting themselves to give themselves information about what to do with their fetch land. Karn the Great Creator. I'm going to ignore the existence of that card and start out trying to play the Urza Saga game. If my opponent has a Wasteland in their opener, they have a Wasteland in their opener, and, like, that's fine. Alright, so there's some Black Vice damage. Fetch land pass. Feels like my opponent might have, like, a Meltdown or something. Not a lot that I can do about that in the short term. This is the sort of situation where Ankh of Mishra would be cool, though, right? Like, just very good against all those fetch lands. Bolt me. Absolutely. Might be indicative of trying to build a graveyard for Murktide Regent. Sure. Get 1 damage off Black Vice. There's a land drop. Seems like it's Murktide Regent the hard way. It's not a very strong Murktide Regent. It was just a 3 mana 4/4 flyer. Very sad Murktide Regent. Alright. Construct token. Activate Urza Saga. They're 3/3s. This is going to fetch out probably just a Pithing Needle here. On Wasteland very awkwardly. Even though I have 3 Wastelands in my hand. I still believe that is correct. Alright. Same Wasteland. I'm going to offer my opponent a 4/4 for their 4/4 and see if they want to take that trade. I don't think they're going to take the trade. They are not going to take the trade. And I'll play out Urza Saga and pass the turn. I look forward to losing to Meltdown. My constructs are out of range of lightning bolts, at least as of right now. So that's the card that beats me. There we go. There it is. What do you want me to do? I'm at 9, and I've just lost the game to Murktide Regent. Well, I mean, I lost the game to Meltdown, but, like, it's still unreasonable how good this card is. Is there any world in which I can deal 11 points of damage next turn? Probably not. My Karn the Great Creator package is very weak, so this isn't actually doing anything to win me the game here. I think I'm just dead. Because I attack with 1 construct next turn. I don't have a way to gain life. Yeah, I mean, my opponent naturally had a meltdown. It's not happening. GG's. Okay, this hand is very strong. I'll be keeping this one. Probably play Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void on turn 1. From there, it's a little harder to tell how exactly I'm supposed to play the hand. Because I have, like, Urza Saga-based options, Lodestone Golem-based options. But I'm pretty sure just doing that one on turn 1 is just always right. And then we'll use my opponent's land drop and maybe, you know, a Force of Will here to kind of inform my decisions from this point on. This Force of Will pitching Ledger Shredder. So we're probably playing against a blue-red Delver or Rug Delver-ish deck. Oh, there's a Marsh Flats. Oh! Okay. Reanimator? Ledger Shredder Reanimator? I think Thought-Knot Seer becomes the play. I need to know what the fuck is happening over there. Okay, there's a response. Like, are we going to see Entomb? Like, Underground Sea Entomb? Okay. 4 mana. You have my full fucking attention here. Intuition. So this is gonna put 2 Malevolent Hermits into my opponent's hand. Okay. I mean, I'm putting the Echo into your hand. I'm not putting that into the graveyard here, I don't think. Okay, I've taken the Echo. My opponent has a Scrubland and then a couple of Malevolent Hermits in the graveyard. This is a very strange situation. Urza Saga. I can just play my shit pre-combat. I don't know what I'm running into over there. And I don't say that sort of thing very often. But this is definitely wild. And if any sort of flash nonsense is going to happen, I want to know about it now. Okay, that's a fucking Entomb. Or Echo of Eons. Okay. Why would you show me the Entomb and then concede, though? Like, why would you show me another Echo? Why would you show me Entomb that you haven't showed me? Okay. I'm going to take a second and look at the most recent 5.0 decklist dump. I feel like I saw something labeled non-standard Reanimator. Nothing like this. Okay, so this is a wild brew. So I see Ledger Shredder, I see Echo of Eons, there's maybe reanimation stuff. I'm probably playing Leyline of the Void. Unsure about Warping Whale. Probably playing Grafdigger's Cage. Unsure on Null Rod? Probably playing Thorn. Karn the Great Creator just suck here. Like, do I just board this out every round? Like, the most interesting thing this does in this matchup is probably plus to attack with Ankh of Mishra or something like that. If I pull those, I can still, like, very easily have enough cards to play a respectable game of Magic. I can cut these Null Rods. I legitimately don't know how good they are, because I've only seen Lotus Petals so far. There's presumably Lion's Eye Diamond in there. Does Echo? Question mark. Do I just get rid of Ankh of Mishra and keep Null Rod? Maybe Ankh of Mishra is better on the play. I could also get rid of Black Vice. I don't know, Black Vice is interesting if my opponent's doing a bunch of draw 7s. I have no idea how good this hand is. I'm going to keep it, but I legitimately do not know how good this hand is. Just kind of lacking on information. Okay, there's a second main phase land to be a hipster. There's a Chalice. I don't want to play that on turn 1. And I'm not going to. I think it just makes the rest of my game far too awkward to play Chalice on 1 off City of Traders here. Okay, Brainstorm's fine. What's Ledger Shredder innately? Is it a 1/3? Okay, there's red in there. Okay. So, Warping Whale kills Ledger Shredder. I think I'm down with that, and I think I try to kill that right now, rather than play out the Chalice immediately. Alright, that is a Force of Will, pitching, and Intuition. That's fine. Next turn I can play both Chalice and Warping Whale in some capacity, and just kind of hope that my opponent can't put a counter on Ledger Shredder this turn. I'll take 1 happily. Ooh. So, this becomes a really weird question of, like, in which order do I play these things? I believe Chalice comes first. No. Right? Warping Whale has to come first. This is a player. Yeah, so my Warping Whale needs to come first here. And there's some times where my opponent just rattles off 2 spells, and then it functions as a counter spell. Not this time. Do I want to play around Daze? No. I do not. I don't care about playing around Daze or Spell Pierce here. Like, I'm good with taking those 1-for-1s. You may Intuition. Serenity to Fairy to Fairy. I mean, that's very good. Serenity's really awkward. Not that the Teferi isn't, but I think I'm supposed to give my opponent a Teferi. Teferi deals with one of these, not both. Serenity deals with both. This is a weird deck that we're playing against. Alright. Leyline has been targeted as the thing that matters. Urza's Saga. That's certainly not bad. I am totally unsure if I'm supposed to actually play that this turn. I'm going to play the Karn first and then decide. Awkward if I get dazed. Alright, let's go Construct Token. And now that this resolved, I think I am going to go this Urza Saga route. And just intend on increasing my number of artifacts greatly. Because I can scale up the size of these artifacts fast. Okay, nice Entomb. There's an LED. Okay, passing the turn. So I'm always playing Glimmer Post this turn. So let's do that. I'm not sure that I'm actually supposed to activate Urza Saga. It seems like casting Trinisphere might be better against my opponent here. I don't think I need to maximize my value. I think I just need to stop my opponent from maybe randomly doing something stupid that beats me. I will still go ahead and just minus this card. And then kill this Teferi. And I think I've got enough random hate in play and enough random power that this should beat my opponent. This probably 2-turn clocks my opponent. Yeah, most certainly does. Minus another, like, Serenity happening. Alright, Intuition. Demigod of Revenge. Sure. Or not. Just got a little peek at what was coming. So my opponent's hand is... Oh, no, okay. Different color. Shouldered the Apocalypse, huh? Sure. Like, you get one. Oh, I see. So it's Shouldered Echo of Eons is the cute shit that my opponent is trying to do. Absolutely. Alright, I will lose 2 life. Alright, now I will activate my Urza Saga for a Construct Token. I think this is a fine time to pick up the Grafdigger Cage. Let's just double check this wording. Yeah. Grab Cage. Plus Karn. Okay, and we're done. GG's. Took me a long time to figure out what my opponent was doing over there. Okay, I will definitely be keeping this hand here. It's got turn 1 Chalice into probably Urza Saga, do cool stuff. Oh, don't Elves me again. Yavimaya is more likely to be a Dark Depths deck. The Ankh just better? Ankh just better than Chalice? No, I probably need to shut off the Crop Rotation Elvish Reclaimer type cards. Let's still go ahead and do this. But that Ankh was tempting. See what my opponent does. Aiga. So I'm thinking Minsk and Boo now. Taking 1 damage is nice. We done? We're done. So this turn, I need to decide whether or not I'm going all in on Urza Saga. I can play Urza Saga Ankh of Mishra this turn, and then try to make large constructs. But that makes my 4-drops much worse. I think that's fine. I think I'm into this. Alright, here we go. First Ankh of Mishra of the league. Let's see how much damage collectively this card does. I haven't seen this card in Constructed basically ever. I've seen it in EDH. I've played it in EDH. Play a fetch land. Man, they don't even have to correct their fetch. Oh, I'm a lot sadder. Oh, that's a legend rule, Yavimaya. That feels bad. 2 damage so far. Oh, fuck that card. I don't like that. That hamster is going to fucking destroy me, like, between, like, Ancient Tomb and Ankh of Mishra. Yeah, that Minsk and that Boo is just going to grow faster than my Urza Saga Construct tokens are, like, by a lot. I have... Fuck, I can't cast Pithing Needle because of Chalice of the Void. So this turn, I can make an Urza Saga token, and next turn I could Karn the Great Creator minus get Sorceress Spyglass, but to do that I need to play Cloudpost this turn. Fuck, I am so afraid for my life total. Ow. I'm at 11. This Minsk and Boo can attack me for 7. I don't like it. And without the ability to just, like, grab a Shadow Spear and regain all of the life lost from Ankh of Mishra, it's rough. Like, main decking the Null Rods is super cute and hedges against a certain portion of the metagame, but, like, it means that I'm not playing one of the best cards for Urza Saga. Oh, there's a Wasteland. That's very bad for me. I don't think I beat that. Yeah. This is some shit. So, I see how this is about to work out. I've just made specifically a 3/3 construct token, which is smaller than the Boo token. My opponent can attack me for 4, and then fling the Boo at this construct token to clear the board. This game is totally over. Oh. I mean, that's gonna beat me too. Like, that's fine, right? Because now I can't play another land or I die to my own Ankh of Mishra. The Dryad Arbor crashes in. I'll block it. If you're gonna show me a Punishing Fire, I'm totally fine with that. Well, that doesn't do a lot against me. I will die a noble and dignified death. Okay, so I lost to 1 card this game. I lost to my opponent playing a Minsk and Boo, and I know that they're in red-green. They might be like Applejacks. I know that I do not want Null Rods. That's what I know. I know that I want Pithing Needle and maybe Grafdigger's Cage as Urza Saga targets. I think I want to be able to wish for Sorcerer's Spyglass. And then I'm maybe playing Warping Whale to just literally round out the deck list. That doesn't feel great. This is a hand of cards. Nope. It's also a hand of cards. Guess this is a keep. Turn 1 Glimmer Post. Turn 2 Wasteland Ankh of Mishra. Karn at some point after that. Probably throw back the Warping Whale, which I was kind of sketch on in the first place. This is not, like, objectively the most powerful deck in the world here. Well, I meant hand, but also, this is round 4. And all I'm saying is I've only been recording for about an hour. Games have kind of been a landslide in one direction or the other. Very quickly. I kind of want to play against a control deck to see how these, like, Black Vice, Ankh of Mishra type cards do over time. Because it feels like my deck is highly targeted, and I'm just, like, not playing against the things this deck is targeted against. Now, admittedly, if your deck isn't targeted against Blue-Red Delver, you know, why are you playing it? Welcome to Legacy. Alright, there's Taiga. And there's a Green Sun 4 Dryad Arbor. That is a Trinisphere that I can play. Do I want to play Trinisphere or Ankh of Mishra? I think my plan is deal damage to my opponent to kill them. as stupid as that is to say. So I think I'm actually going to drop the Ankh. This is a lot of damage to myself, though. I don't know that it's super acceptable to play Ankh of Mishra and Ancient Tomb without an easy way to gain life back. Like, holy shit, does this deck need access to Shadow Spear? Oh, don't Force of Vigor me. Alright, they had the Force of Vigor. That's super unfortunate. My hand has lost most of its oomph, and now I have to kind of get lucky and hope Karn the Great Creator can just, like, destroy my opponent. My primary issue is that, like, my opponent is going to have a chance to cast a Minskin Boo before I have a chance to do something really cool with Karn. My opponent also might just have enough onboard power that my Karn doesn't even matter. Yeah, like, that's so much power, and I don't have access to Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, I think this game is over and very much not in my favor. You sideboard. So, like, this Karn is very bad. I can just plus it and try to keep it alive. That doesn't even work if my opponent has a fetch land, because it's 3, 4, 5, 6. Gross. And then the thing that I get is just destroyed by Outland Liberator. So I guess I'm getting a Sorceress Spyglass, because that can at least name this. And maybe Minskin Boo if I answer this later. I want to Earth through this deck 5-0. This feels very bad versus random stuff. Admittedly, it's probably insane versus combo. You get like Black Vice and Null Rods main deck. But it is not feeling good versus these Feral Creature decks that just have a bunch of bodies. They have borderline no removal. And a lot of my stuff, like Ankh of Mishra and Ancient Tomb, does damage to me. I'm going to take 3. Oh, nope. Okay, so my opponent is going to kill Karn and then activate Elvish Reclaimer instead. That's, I guess, reasonable. I can't imagine winning from here, unfortunately. Like, my opponent has 7 power on board, maybe is working towards Dark Depths combo immediately. My Sorcerer's Spyglass and Trinisphere don't do anything because of this, and my Karn the Great Creator is Karn the Great Creator and doesn't do anything. Like, I'm at 19 life, but I'm throwing in the towel on turn 4. Alright, final round here. Opening hand's kind of awkward, in that I have a good mix of lands and spells, but they don't work together super well in conjunction. I might mulligan this hand. It's just incredibly awkward because the best thing this hand can do is probably go all in on Urza Saga. And if I don't do something like that, it's like turn 1 Cloudpost, turn 2 City, so that I can play Trinisphere into turn 3 Thoughtnot or Karn. And then I like lose this city. And I'm unable to cast the other one. I don't think I'm actually excited about this hand. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand I'm more excited about. Well, Karn the Great Creator sucks. So there's that. I'm going to keep this, throwing back a City of Traders, I think. Actually, maybe throwing back Urza Saga. Maybe I just throw back a Karn. Because, like, if I'm playing against a counterspell deck, I want the second Karn. Okay. This is likely to be a slower blue deck, and we can actually see what some of these cards do. I don't think I want to play Ankh of Mishra on turn 1 off City of Traders. Another Karn, and it's the good Karn this time. I think this is just Cloudpost go. I will get to see how good Ankh of Mishra is here. Okay, just Island Pass. Do I want to play Cloudpost this turn? I think I have enough good spells that I don't want to start doing Urza Saga stuff yet. So this allows me to cast Ankh of Mishra. And then next turn I've got some cool options. Okay, it resolved. Okay, so there's 2 damage. Now this might just get Prismatic Ending away, and I might have just played a Glorified Shock. It is a Narset. That is okay with me. Finding Supreme Verdict. That's a little awkward. I guess I attempt Planeswalkers instead. I think starting with this one. That is a Force of Negation, pitching the Supreme Verdict. The creatures are back on the menu. If I play Glimmer Post next turn, I have 3, 6, 7, 8 mana. is enough to do multiple of these things. I think I'm okay playing Urza Saga this turn. Ow. I'll take 2. Note that I am aware that I could have played Glimmerpost this turn to have 7 mana, but 7 mana doesn't get me anywhere when I have, like, 3 4-drops in my hand. Oh, that's a Force of Will. I don't like that. Alright, Ankh of Mishra actually starting to do some work here. Fairy? The Fairy. Absolutely. Bouncing the Urza Saga for tempo. So again, I'm in this awkward spot, like, where my Cloudposts almost do really cool stuff, and I know my opponent has Force of Will now. So probably Thought-Knot Seer is the most expendable of these cards. Play Urza Saga. Take some damage. Allows me to play a Thought-Knot Seer around a Daze, although honestly I'm not expecting my opponent to have Daze in their deck. Alright, that is a Brainstorm. Thought-Knot Seer has resolved. Ho. Ah, that is a good hand. Brainstorm and Teferi are the best things here. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit of Teferi, but I'm not actually sure if that's correct. Like, I'm expecting the top card of my opponent's library to just be a 1-mana removal spell for Thought-Knot Seer. Okay, there's a Teferi plus. Okay. So if I play Glimmerpost, this is 3, 6, 7, 8 total mana. I know my opponent has multiple Force of Will effects. Very willing to just take some damage here. I'm going to cast 1 4-drop and a Black Vise this turn. I think I am supposed to just attack with Thought-Knot Seer as a starting point. I think I'm more afraid of the Teferi activating more times in the future. Okay, yeah, that's to be expected. Okay. Now, this is a little awkward. Let's go 4 mana for a Lodestone Golem. Force pitching Force. Fantastic. It's a little awkward for me. This is 3 mana. I'm going to go ahead and cast this to use my mana, but that means making my Urza Saga construct at sorcery speed. Oh, there's a Hull Breacher. Black Vise isn't really currently doing damage, so like it may just be wrong to do this. But it's basically just like Prismatic Ending that I care about a whole lot. Alright, there's the Brainstorm. So my opponent's cards are now all unknown. And the more, like, Ankh of Mishra Black Vice type cards I can get into play, the more endgame damage I can get if things go my way. I'm just very worried about Days Undoing. It's incredibly strong right now. Because, like, my opponent has both Narset and Teferi in play. Alright, there's a Source of Plowshares, so that would have gotten my creature at end of turn anyway. Ankh of Mishra doing a little work. And I just hate that I am not getting real cards off of my Urza Saga. Like, it stings. Alright. Activate. Grab a new Black Vice. Probably play Urza Saga. Worth the 2 damage. I'm at 19. This is 4 mana. For Karn. It has resolved. I go ahead and make a creature here. Just make it more awkward for my Karn to actually be attacked by that Hull Breacher. Alright, these Black Vice triggers are not doing anything. Opponent's got something. A new Narset, which is obviously very good. Finding another Teferi. So that's a minus. Yet another removal spell. Now I lose my Karn. I've still got like an Urza Saga that my opponent has to deal with. A lot of this stuff isn't looking great for me. Do I even need to play this Ancient Tomb? I don't know that I need to play this. 3, 6, 7. There's some Karn-based lines that I could want this for, actually. I'll take the 2. Black Vice, though. Okay, there's 2 more damage. Don't know why exactly my opponent is continuing to play land drops. Oh, wow. I think they just fully missed with Narset. They didn't reveal a card. Okay, that's a Teferi. Sure. I guess that allows the Hull Breacher to attack in this turn. Oh, nope, they don't want to do that. I'll go ahead and do an Urza Saga activation. This is a 3/3, soon to be a 4/4, soon to be a 5/5. So let's just go ahead and grow this. Find another Black Vise. Cast a Black Vise. Cast a Null Rod, which oddly is actually relevant in case my opponent gets treasure tokens. I'm not sure that I fuck around with the Planeswalkers. I think this just straight up goes at my opponent's face. Because if my opponent ever does a draw 7, the Black Vices probably kill them. Yeah. Alright, opponent agrees. I've got lethal on board. Alright, there's a Teferi Plus. 3 mana for a Hull Breacher. We're chilling? We're chilling. Draw step, Days Undoing. How is that going to work out for you? How is that going to work out for you? I need to turn off auto yield just so I can get a picture of what is about to happen. Attack you. Opponent will take 7. Going to 3 life. And then. Alright, they would like to cast a Dress Down. Very good. It returns them to 7 cards. Most of the things that they can cast at instant speed here are cantrips. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The old Black Vice putting in some work. Yikes, okay. So these Sorcerer Spyglass and Pithing Needle type cards are really good. The Ankh of Mishra actually does work in this sort of matchup. The Null Rods technically have text. Technically. Warping Whale is interesting, but is like quite bad versus Teferi. I wonder if my opponent boards out Hull Breacher after seeing Null Rod in game 1. Weird situation to be in. Also play Thorn. I've got 5 cards that I can consider. Black Vice is going to do an awful lot of nothing unless it does what I just did to my opponent there, and it just keeps them from doing their combo. I think I just cut the Null Rods and play a handful of reasonable cards. I think I play these 4 and keep Sorcerer Spyglass as a Karn target. That seems pretty reasonable to me. Weird ass game of Magic, though. This does not have enough mana. Easy mulligan. Yes, this is a keep. What the hell goes back? And do I just play double Black Vice on turn 1? Like, do I just throw back Lodestone Golem and just play, like, pile oh fucking hate dot hand? Yes, I think I do. I'm not trying to end this quickly. Alright, Island, Ponder. That'll just replace itself. Double Black Vice is a very real amount of damage. Especially if you're on the play. Another Ankh. Holy shit. Okay. This sort of thing is more like what I want to be playing against. Alright. Ancient Tomb. 1 mana. Black Vice. Ooh, it was good enough to get a Force of Will. Which unfortunately does make the follow-up Black Vice much worse. I do also now know that my opponent doesn't have another counterspell in hand because they just F6'd after that Force of Will, so that's nice information. I now know that I can play an Ankh or a Chalice on my turn, and it's incredibly likely to resolve. I think I just go for the Chalice here and force the Brainstorms now. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, it just resolved. They're tapped Chalice. Now my opponent might just go, like, land drop into Teferi, bounce the Chalice, and I lose a lot of tempo here. Ooh, they have red. Could eat a Meltdown. It is a Narset instead. Sure. Man, I hope my opponent doesn't have Meltdown. My opponent just missed on Narset. Or chose not to do something for Narset, one of the two. Trinisphere or Ankh? I think I play Trinisphere so that Thought-Knot Seer is more likely to resolve. But that one's kind of tough. Because, like, in these sorts of situations, the Ankh is just worth 4 damage. Alright. There's a Prismatic Ending on the Black Vice. Okay, why the fuck are we doing that prior to activating the Narset? Like, make your decisions and then, like, cast your removal spells. I'm still gonna play this, but, like, it's very actively bad for me to be playing this on 12 life with Ancient Doom in hand. Okay, there's a land drop. There's a new Narset. Don't think that land drop needs to happen before you see what you're looking at with Narset. There's a Force of Will. Not good because of Trinisphere. I don't think I can play another Ankh of Mishra. I think I just have to pass my turn here. It's super unfortunate. But I kind of just think I've lost this one. Not getting my 4th land drop so that I could cast the Thought-Knot Seer was pretty brutal. Yeah, now a Day's Undoing happens, and my opponent gets a fresh 7 and takes away my cards. I'm not going to concede, because I think there's a good chance that I time my opponent out. My opponent's playing really slowly, and not particularly well either. And I think if I get them low on clock, they will play significantly worse than I will. I'm going to make them kill me. Okay, that's junking my Chalice of the Void. And then there's the Day's Undoing. Cannot hit a land drop to save my life. Alright, what's my opponent got now? Blood Moon, that's fine. So new Narset, that's also fine. Sure. Shark Typhoon, that will kill me quickly. That's the sort of card that my opponent needed. Oh my god, I have taken so many draw steps without finding a land. Not going to mine the time from my opponent that I really wanted to get. But I'm still going to be up like 7 minutes by the time this match is over, so that's still probably okay. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Absolutely. My opponent is going to discard. Alright, I drew a land, but now these are mountains, so I can only produce 3 mana right now. And my opponent, end of turn, will presumably... Oh, they showed me an Ensnaring Bridge. You should not have showed me that card. Like, keep that card in your hand, even if you don't intend on casting it. Like, don't show me that. Like, we're going to a game 3. Like, that's a very critical card for me to know about. I'll take 5 damage from the Shark attack, and then the Shark attack will kill me on the following turn. You do not have the time to be doing whatever it is you are doing right now. I am going to play some more cards to waste more of my opponent's time, because that's where we're at right now. That is the win condition for game 3. Alright, there is a Force of Will. That means that I am dead to this Shark. Which is fine. Like, my hand definitely bottomed out here. Alright. So I have learned about Blood Moon, Ensnaring Bridge, and Shark Typhoon. So I now know that I can Pithing Needle Shark Typhoon if I need to, although prioritizing the Planeswalkers probably matters more. I'm thinking about whether or not I just want Sorcerous Spyglass in my main deck over some other card. Like, Warping Whale's not very good. The issue with this is it makes my Karn worse. Karn can also wish for things that get exiled. I'm just going to kind of hope that that sorts itself out. Okay, what am I looking at here? A pretty reasonable hand. I'm going to keep this. I think I just play the Black Vice on turn 1 off Glimmer Post. If I play Cloudpost tapped, I can play Black Vice and Ankh of Mishra on turn 2, though. Could be better. That's probably better. I lose out on a little damage in the short term, though. But my curve becomes so much more aggressive by taking this line. I think it's okay. Like, I don't have to play a fast game. My opponent does. I don't know in which order to play these 2 cards, so that I end up dealing more damage if one of them is countered. I think I play the Ankh first, though. Tapped Tundra, huh? Play Black Vice. And Wasteland. Oh, shit. My opponent is F6ing my turns already. Get punished. Goodbye. It's just like classic Black Vice. Lightning Bolt you with it every turn. Then, like, I just play Trinisphere on my turn so that my opponent can't cast spells reasonably. And they showed me that they did not have a counterspell as of last turn. They could this turn. They're not F6'd this turn. But I think this is my line. And if it resolves, it's disgusting with Black Vice. If it takes a counterspell that my opponent drew this turn, which it did because they weren't F6'd, I just play land drop and then double Ankh next turn. That's so much long-term damage. Okay, yeah. Opponent is playing very aggressively here because they are down so far on time. Alright. Alright, there's the Black Vise trigger. I assume that my opponent just has to remove, like, immediately. Okay. So there's land drop. I have 4 mana to work with in this turn cycle. Oh shit, I have 5 mana. Excuse me. Not that I think that matters much. I think I do just go ahead and drop these now. Yeah, my opponent has to fetch in response. Sure. Brainstorm's fine. You do not have this much time to be using on any one cantrip, friend. Alright, are we resolving? We are resolving. In which case, I will play a second one. Fantastic. Alright, Black Vise trigger. Opponent goes to 12. Play a fetch land. Play a fetch land. See what happens. Oh yeah. That's 4 damage off the front side of the fetch land. Fetch. That's 5 damage. The land enters. That's 6-7 damage off a land. Okay, this is what I came here to do. This deck fucks. Opponent's at 3. The Fairy Time Reveler absolutely resolves. Would you like to draw a card and put another card in your hand for Black Vise? The Fairy Plus. That's kind of what I thought. Or no, sorry, they haven't plussed it yet. They're sitting there thinking about it. Okay, now they are plussing. So they only take 1 from Black Vise. Karn minus? I want to play one of these 2 cards. This one plays around Force of Negation, so I think I want to play it first. Possible I should just Trinisphere this turn, but I don't want to lean further into a Meltdown type card. Alright, there is the concession, and we end up with a 2-3. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I think this is close to a good idea. I'm going to move the entire sideboards off the screen here. I think Karn the Great Creator is extremely bad in this deck list, and I think Null Rod is extremely bad in this deck list. I think the whole Ankh of Mishra Black Vise thing is not crazy, but it needs to be paired with more aggressive stuff. So I want to turn a couple of these cards into an actual Urza Saga package. Like, I want a main deck Pithing Needle, and I want a main deck Shadow Spear at minimum. I want those 2 cards. From there, I want 6 more threats, and if they can be something that either scales or something that I can cast in the early game, that's better. I'm not sure what I want off the top of my head, but I would be looking at like vintage Ravager shops for ideas for threats that I can play. Crystalline Giant, for example, is the sort of card that I'm talking about. Or maybe you can play Stonecoil Serpent. I want some other real threat that can pressure my opponent in the early game off of colorless mana. I think there's some very good deck building ideas here, but I think as this deck is currently configured, it is like very specifically targeting control decks and combo decks, and I feel like you just kind of lose to anything that has a reasonable number of creatures. Partially because the Ankh of Mishra's hurt you, and partially because you can't play Shadow Spear. I also think that once you get rid of Karn the Great Creator, you can open up your sideboard to actually have like very reasonable things. You can play a pile of Pithing Needles and Sorcerous Spyglasses if you want, or you can play more things that are going to help you in the fair matchups. Like the Torpor Orbs are very good. I think the Torpor Orbs still like stay there. But, you know, you can play more Shadow Spears. You can play some Jittes or something like that. You can play a couple Null Rods in the sideboard if you still want that effect. But I think this deck is close to some good ideas. I can conceptually see how it got a 5-0, but it's not great in a vacuum. And I think given the wide range of decks in Legacy, I don't think I'm willing to take this swing and a miss for Game 1 scenarios. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button. It helps out a lot. If you have ideas about how to tune up this deck list, I would really love to hear those in the comments this time around in particular, as, like, there's some cool stuff going on here. All right, have a great rest of the day. See ya.